Peace and Black Power family. Welcome to another episode of Down's Radio. Place where knowledge is born. This your host, Knowledge Born a lot. And we got the realest of the real, the thoroughest of the thorough, the warriors of the warrior of me here today. We got thorough black talks on my warrior sister. We didn't try to do this like 17 times before today. And this was an appointed time. Yesterday, I was right there with it. H-Rap Brown birthday. I was like, "Oh, we're going to get right into the mix." But we're here now at the appointed time that our ancestors appointed for us to meet. So let me welcome back to the platform, no stranger, one of the greatest guests that have graced this platform, my warrior sister, Sister Keisha.
What's up, brother? Yeah, we finally made it happen. We finally made it happen. Life happens.
Right,
I had to cancel a couple of times, but
right,
I'm here now. I'm here now. Here now.
right. I was coming back from Charlotte. I thought I'd be back. I was kidding myself.
How was it? How was it in Charlotte?
Charlotte is cool. I don't appreciate their roads though, but the spot was cool. You know, did some running around. A lot of things are getting done out there, and I put up a couple clips, a couple videos I did out there, like quick on the spot interviews. That was good. I like that. Um,
Hmm.
I
I got
seen the cat, man. I thought it took me back home. You know what I'm saying? He was hustling out his trunk. I was like, ooh, yeah, I can't pass this by. You know what I'm saying? I can't pass this by, man. A positive brother, him and his queen out there. They got clothes, they got incense, they got oils, they got natural soap, they got the charcoal toothpaste. You know what I'm saying? So like in the midst of this pandemic that they got going on, I seen the most adaptable black people I ever seen in my life. You know, cats might be there like home, like, nah, you know what I'm saying? I can't do this, I can't do that. Nah,
hmm
they're turned it on his heels, and I seen, brothers and sisters out here being most adaptable. Some of the most adaptable times that I've seen. So I need to get your assessment on, what's been going on. We've been in the midst of everything, and I know y'all go in on Thorough Black Talk, bringing it down in the way that it need to go. So I need kind of like your battlefield assessment of all. Where are we as a people? And what's going on right now? What's good? What's really good?
Well, you have some good and you have some bad. Right now it seems well, I know for certain we aren't politically where we should be
Mm,
right now
mhm,
with all of the economic growth that we mentioned or you mentioned in the beginning.
right.
In order to protect that, you have to have a political net and a military tie, if you will,
That's right.
because if not, what you see happening now will be destroyed the way it was in the past. And that's the way I see it. And we have to become more politically astute. Right now, I see a lot of people, on social media making commentary as it relates to this current national election.
Hmm.
Um, Pretty much trying to bully um, those who don't want to take part in this political process into doing so and trying to use guilt traps to make them do it. So that's disheartening because it shows how far back um, we have lost the I don't know. I'm trying to put it elementary, the blueprint of, if you will, on how politics and business is to work and to be cohesive. So, that's where we're at, and that's disheartening. But on a brighter note, as you said, there is a lot of economic growth with Black people, not just here, but also abroad. I see a lot of people our people leaving the United States to also live abroad. And that's something that is a boom right now. A lot of our people are moving to the continent, moving to the Caribbean. A friend of my husband's, he just moved to South America, retired and moved to South America because when you look at the landscape as far as Black life is concerned here in this country, nothing is changing. In fact, we're going backward. So, that's the downside of where we're at. On the positive, like I said, that business growth, and I see a lot of more of our people becoming health conscious, becoming more aware of the use of firearms. Right now, the fastest group to apply for gun or firearm licenses are Black people, in particular Black women. So that's a good thing, to get that firearm training, because right now this racial powder cake, is bubbling. And I'm not telling anybody to go out there and act crazy, but you should be able to protect yourself at all costs. So that's a positive. But that's life, brother. You take the good with the bad, and that's what makes us who we are. So we just keep pushing through. Keep pushing through.
So in relationship to politics and business, as far as us is concerned, how do you envision us seeing that work amongst ourselves?
It has to start from the grassroots level, and we need to get it out of our head that we have to choose the lesser of two evils. That you have to participate in this duopoly, this oligarchy of political trash, if you will. So we don't have to take part in that. And one of the things that we've been doing on Thorough Black Talk is trying to educate our people correctly on the history of our people's fight for the right to vote and what their political mindset was. Just last week, we were talking about, in the past weeks, we've been talking about the first Black man to run for president here in the United States, Mr. Edwin Taylor, George Edwin Taylor, back in 1904. I know a lot of people, would say that it was Dick Gregory, who was the first Black person to run for president here in the United States. But that's not the truth. George Edwin Taylor in 1904 ran for president under an independent Black political party, the United Negro Civil Liberties Party. You have to imagine, go back if you will, what it was like for our people at that time. You just come out of enslavement. Doing so by the goodwill of our brothers and sisters who enlisted into the Civil War, right? Who fought for our freedom. They coming back, they begin to build communities, if you will. They took their geniuses, if you will, and built an economic powerhouse wherever they were, whether it was in Durham, North Carolina, whether it was Tulsa, Oklahoma, whether it was here in Weeksville, Brooklyn, it doesn't matter. We had a enclave of not just economic growth and nation building. We were building our own nations, because also remember now, we're in a Jim Crow period. So we had to separate ourselves. We had to govern ourselves. It wasn't wise for you to call law enforcement in if there was a problem where you were living, because that could lead to death, not just for the person that you're calling them on, but you as well. So they had to build their own nations within nations. The problem that they had, and this was rapid, if you will, rapid success. Rapid success because you had 20 men who were already a part of the duopoly. 20 black men were already members of the Senate at that time. But you had a huge group of people who were forming independent political parties. And they used both at the same time to protect that economic development. They had so much protection that there were black men, believe it or not, at that time who were killing white cops and getting away with it, you know, just walking out the courtrooms. I'm talking about in Mississippi, you know. As a matter of fact, George Edwin Taylor, he ran for president because I can't remember the brother's name, but I hope it comes to me, but it was someone else who was running for that seat, for that presidential seat, who got into a fight with a white man, a Klansman, if you will, and he murdered him. And he went to trial and he got away with it. But they thought he would go to jail or, if worse, be killed. And so that's when George Edwin Taylor stepped in. They didn't let the party fall. They had a backup plan. Black people's only plan right now is to vote in this duopoly. That's not a plan. You know, that's not our history. You know, Fannie Lou Hamer, she put herself on a ballot. 1972, she put herself on a ballot. You know, she didn't say, well, we should compromise here. You know, we should just take the status quo. That's not the truth. You had a slew of black attorneys, like Noah Pardons. Noah Pardons was a brilliant attorney during Reconstruction. In fact, he had the only criminal case to be tried in the Supreme Court. Never done before, never happened since. And he ended up losing the case. His client was eventually captured and hung for allegedly attacking and raping a white woman in Tennessee. But to have Noah Pardons and his partner Hutchins go into the Supreme Court and litigate a criminal defense case was powerful at that time. Remember, just out of enslavement. And so we were building rapidly and surrounding ourselves politically and legally with a box, if you will, to keep other groups out. It was so tight that when France fell on hard times, they reached out to black business owners here in the United States in hope to broker a financial deal. I have footage of oil wells, not in Tulsa, but in other parts of the country where black people owned. You had a surgence of black intellectual power at that time as well. You had Hubert Harris, Henry Highland Garnett, you know, so many. You had Sojourner Truth with the suffrage movement. You had, I mean, just on and on. But the only thing that they didn't do simultaneously was to develop a military to protect those nations. And so that's why poor white trash was able to run up in there and take whatever they want, did whatever they want, because they didn't have that fear of going into those black nations the way we have that fear and still have that fear to this day. You know, you driving somewhere, you say, wait a minute, something don't look right here. I better put the pedal to the metal. Let me get up on out of here. So it's still that same way today. So as we grow economically, as we continue to push the support and development of black business, you have to protect it politically, and we have to have a military to protect it. And we have to have nations outside of this sphere, this northern hemisphere, who will ally, if you will, because just in case something happens, America has to have a fear that if you put your hands on Black people, such and such is going to happen. And so we need African nations and Caribbean nations. We need those powers to be a voice for us. That if you put your hands on another African American, you coming in destroy another Black nation, we will shut off business opportunities for you here right away. And we will forfeit on our IMF loans. Period. Period. And that can be a force for us getting reparations here. And when we secure that here, it will be easier for other nations to follow suit. So we have to understand political development. We have to understand political savvy. We have to understand this chessboard that they play on. And we have to get out of the mindset that we have to take part or else. Because that's not historically accurate. It's not humane to continue to do so. So that's where I'm at with it, you know.
Now, you know, I'm gonna have to ask you to dig a little bit into that reparations. You know, that's the only subject I want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? So this, you know, the whole situation of reparations, many of us on the other side of the coin, we know what true reparations are. So can you speak to monetary land, like what would a reparations picture look like under the guise of you, Sister Keisha? But
Are we talking just monetary right now?
if you had the, you know, they come in with the mixed up, fixed up plans. You know, they're like, oh, they got this particular
Right.
plan versus this particular plan. So, you
Trump's
know,
platinum plan.
right. So the Sister Keisha platinum plan for us in regards to presenting a plan for reparation. What would that look like for you?
Well, first of all, you can't do nothing without economics. We can't do nothing without that bread. And they have to pay not only for the captivity of our ancestors, you have to pay for that. We want damages for that. We want damages for the labor that they were never paid for. We want damages for the psychological trauma that you imposed upon us. We want damages for everything that you have done from the time you began enslavement on these shores. Because remember now, family, it wasn't just the Africans that they brought here, it was also the Africans that were already here that they were enslaving. You have to make amends for that. So when I see these platinum plans like what Donald Trump got, it's a joke. It's a joke. It is full of triggers and grandfather clause stipulations for everybody but Black people. And excuse me, 500 billion is nowhere near enough. Right now, you have Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi working out a stimulus plan that they hope to have solved by the end of this week or next week for another round of PPEs, another round of unemployment stimulus, another round, the usual, the usual. Already, that's a $20 trillion package. Now, if you could come up with that in a matter of days for what's happening now, don't tell me you don't have the money in the coffers. What about our $20 trillion? Nobody gets paid off until we get paid off. Period. Pay your debt. The United States has a debt to pay to African Americans. So $50 billion trigger plan is a disgrace to me. It's a disgrace. You have, I don't know, let's say you had a million black business owners. We'll just put a round figure. A million black business owners could get maybe about $7,000 out of this package. And some people might say that's a good deal. Some people might say, well, if he gave us $500,000, that's a good deal. Consider who you have to compete with. Who do you compete with? As a business owner, who do you compete with? You have to compete with the Amazons, your Walmarts, your Targets, your Kohl's, your J.C. Penney's, and whoever else that's out there. Can you compete with that with $7,000? No. There is no middle of the road. There is no, oh, we'll work it out in the next 4 years. No, we'll have a study about it. We'll get together with the Congressional Black Caucus and we'll have a discussion. No. And we, the people, excuse me, we have to say that these people don't speak for us. Excuse me, family. But riding the bikes in the city, that exhaust gets in my throat.
She is heating up over here. Just talk about reparations. Um, just want us to be, you know, aware of what's going on, of the bait and switch when we start talking, crossing party lines and party affiliations and all of these things. And, you know, there's a conversation about voting for your best interest. What is your best interest? You know, voting uh, in your best interest, not against your best interest. There's no conversation surrounding those two areas. So just be kind of mindful of what's at stake and what you are putting your energy and intensity into in regards to your attention. You know, these are very intentional times. You have to be very, very mindful of what your attention is fixated on, what you're obsessing over. These uh, spiritual centers in your body, in your mind, in your essence, like what is emanating from them. You know, people are attempting to tap into those centers and, you know, take some things from you or to hop on these energies that are emitting off of you. So if they got you in a constant state of fear, you know, your adrenal glands are working overtime, you know, secreting that adrenaline, that fight or flight response that you in, and it's wrecking your body, you know, it's wrecking your body and all of those things. So, you know, just like in the Matrix, you know, when the neophyte hit the ground, and he was bleeding, he said, "I thought it wasn't real." Said Morpheus reminded him that your mind makes it real. So even these virtual engagements that we are, you know, engaging in, these all have a resonance in regards to that. You know, aside from the data mining that's going on, you know, um, there's some things to be mindful of. Let's say, like, would you take your child in a room full of strangers? Or would you just walk up to random people on the street and say, "Hey, look at my loved one"? And most people would say no. But you do it every day on this media platform. You're showing your children, you're showing your loved ones. You know, Every day you're showing them. You're like, hey, this is such and such. This is such and such. So they know who you are. They know who all your family is. You understand what I'm saying? You tell your family business on here. You got all of these things going on that you swear you would not do. So it's just something to just be mindful of. Go ahead, Sister Keisha.
Excuse me, family. Like I said, I ride bikes. So you get a lot of exhaust when you're on the street here in the city. And my throat had been bothering me. So I went to a herbalist store to get some teas and drops to help clear my throat. And the sister gave me something that I took when I got back in the house just before I came on. And it's working because it's just having all of that come out of me, because here in the city, traffic is crazy, but it's a catch-22. I love being outdoors and I love bike riding. So I have to do what I have to do. I have very sensitive skin too, so I have to do what I have to do. So excuse me for that, but it's working. You feel the burn. It's working.
It's all good.
It's working.
We
Worth every
were
penny so far.
discussing, right. We were discussing the 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 Sister Keisha platinum plant
Oh
in
yes.
regards
So they have to come up with that check ASAP. ASAP. Now, the reason why I say a political education is very important, because we don't want to fall back into the same trap that we're in now, that got our ancestors, in the place that they were. So we have to know how to govern ourselves better, even as neighborhoods, as communities. You have to know how to govern yourself. There has to be psychological treatment for our people. There has to be a deprogramming mechanism for our people. We do not want any of our tax dollars going to municipal coffers as it relates to education. All of the tax monies that we have spent thus far should be turned back over to us so that we can hire our own police, build our own schools, and develop our own health treatment centers or health wellness centers, because the status quo doesn't work. If healthcare worked for Black people, you wouldn't need dialysis centers. Excuse me. You wouldn't need chemotherapy centers or whatever it is you call them. You wouldn't need these things. So turn over those tax dollars back to us immediately. We will have to have a governing body, excuse me, for any educational platform that we have. We have a plethora of those who have already done it, those who are doing it. We have a plethora of scholars who we can determine who should direct education as it relates to our people, in particular our children. We don't need any municipal school boards. They must be done with. Whatever you were going to pay those people, turn that money over to us. We'll choose our own board. The way that the Hasidic communities have it, we want it the same way. We need our own legal apparatus as it relates to our plight here and our conditions here in this country. We need our own court systems to operate within the current status court system. What I mean by that, the same way the Hasidics have rabbinical courts to deal with their issues based on their way of life, we must have the same. If any people in this country have a particular circumstance as it relates to the legalities of this country and how this country sees us based on its constitution, warrants us to have our own legal apparatus the same way the Hasidics have here in New York. They have their own court systems. They don't even have to deal with ours or the nations, I would say. They don't have to deal with that. So we need the same circumstances. And as I said, we here in the cities in particular spend a lot of money. Rent is higher in these cities. Retail costs are higher in these cities. So you're paying more to live and sustain yourself in these cities. When it comes to playing the lottery, because they say when you play the lottery, some of that lottery money is then given to the state for education. Nobody play lotto more than black people. Nobody play the numbers more than black people. Give us our money and we'll build our own institutions of learning. We don't need y'all anymore. Just leave us alone. The same way you do $5 Indians, the same way they do members of Hasidic groups, the same way they do members of the Catholic religion. We want the same thing, because if they allow us to have our tax dollars, we can form our own police departments. We have enough Black men and women who are currently in law enforcement on many levels, whether it's court officer, correction officer, police officer, school safety officer, whatever it is. Whether you're in the fire department, we have enough brothers and sisters currently employed. We have enough retired who we can also employ to form our own security, our own police. So even if you have a theater, let's say in your city, and you bring in, I don't know, whoever, name an artist, I don't know, but you bring them in. We don't
bring in Sister Keisha.
We don't need no police. We hire our own security. That creates generational employment. The same way Kohl's has generational employment. The same way Target has generational employment. The same way Amazon has generational employment. We can do the same. In fact, when you live in a municipality, in particular where I live at, it's predominantly Black. That means the state has to mandate that 90% of developmental contracts must be held by people who look like me. So, for example, if a new shopping mall is going up, guess what? They got to hire knowledge-born plumbing. They got to have knowledge-born porta potty companies for the construction workers on the site. They got to have knowledge-born security. You understand what I'm saying? So then now knowledge-born is now a conglomerate and can hire our own. We don't have to ask anyone for jobs anymore. And with the residual money that the populace will have, that will turn that money back over to us. Fold after fold after fold. We good. We don't need y'all. We can do our own import and export trade. We can have a mandate where we have to control a percentage of the shipping industry, containers coming from China or any place else around the world. If they're going to sell goods in our neighborhood, if you want to have a Target here, guess what? The method of shipping, when it comes off those vessels into the ports in California, you guess what? You got to deal with knowledge-born trucking and shipping now. Or you can't sell your goods here. We're not telling Walmart you can't come here. You're not telling Target you can't come here. But guess what? If you do, these are the mandates. So that if Walmart makes money, guess what? Knowledge Born is now a manufacturer. He now makes money as well. And guess what? Walmart has to get that manufacturing from Knowledge Born. You understand? So this is how it should be done. And we cannot settle for anything less. Anything less will put us back in this condition or in a worse position. So that's where I'm at with it. Turn over those tax dollars to us. Start breaking off those checks. And you're going to pay reparations from the time of enslavement to now, because it's still going on. Mass incarceration is still going on. You still have manufacturers who are having their products made by inmates. You just had all these wildfires in California. It's the inmates that's putting them fires out. You got to pay for that. Slave labor is still alive and well in this country, and we have to deal with that. So unless the Congressional Black Caucus is sounding anything like this, we could do away with them. Because I don't give you the right to speak for me, because I didn't vote for none of y'all. Knowledge Born didn't vote for none of y'all, so he ain't saying you could speak for him. We now take our own voice. And that's basically what you're doing. When you vote for a congressional person of Congress or person for the Senate, you legally give up your voice and you give it to them to speak for you. So that's why when I say these politicians, they ain't speaking for the people, I'm right in exact. They not. But you legally gave them that right. And this whole push with the census telling you it brings more revenue to various ethnic groups and communities. Well, the way I see it, these communities are gentrified, number one. Number two, let's tell the people what it really is, what the census legally means. It gives you additional congressional seats, period. That's what the census does. Once the numbers go up, they got to give you more congressional seats. The more congressional seats you have in the House, the biggest voice you have as it relates to the Senate. The biggest voice you have in the Senate, you have a direct ear to the president. So don't tell me that it's all about numbers, because right now, everybody got a direct voice. Everybody has a lobbyist on their behalf on Capitol Hill. The Latinos got a lobbyist. The Asians got lobbyists. The Arabs got lobbyists. Hell, even the mob got lobbyists. Black folks, where our lobbyists at? Who's speaking on our behalf? Who could corner Mitch McConnell in the bathroom and say it's going to be this way or no way? Period. Nobody's lobbying for us. We don't have it. Name me one black lobbying firm that speaks for those of us of a conscious mindset. Show me one. They don't exist. And if they do, I'll yield to the floor. But they don't exist. So we need that. We have to also, family, I'm talking to those of us who claim to be, or what they say, woke, or have knowledge of self, or whatever it is you want to call it, terminology, whatever. Excuse me. All of these groups, and I'm speaking to everybody, you have to do what white supremacists do. You have to reach back into these college campuses. When we were running for office on an independent party, we had to get our voices out there. And so I reached out to the Black student body at Medgar Evers. And we had a sit down. And I was able to get, the two top candidates on the ticket on a platform that they would have never had the chance to be on. And that's because I took the chance to start recruiting some of these college kids the same way they do. We ain't there. I'm sorry. We not on the college campuses recruiting those law students, recruiting those engineers, recruiting those STEM students. You better be out there doing it. That's why the Black conscious movement ain't going nowhere. Because you're not out recruiting nobody. You have to have the collegiate realm, work with the street. And when the two come together, they are a force to be reckoned with. We were able to get businesses, and I'm talking about in the 80s, when I was in high school, we were able to get businesses to divest from South Africa because they had a rapport with the clubs on the college campuses. We don't do that. We don't see the need to do that. We need those law students because guess what? You can intern them and have them lobby for you on Capitol Hill. And that's experience that they will get. They're political science majors. That's experience that they will get, and it benefits your organization. A lot of people don't know how to move for real. If we really want to get things done, we're going to have to get off our behinds. We're going to have to get from behind these keyboards and get out there with our people for real. You understand what I'm saying? It shouldn't be a problem where you can't get anybody to vouch for you on a petition process to get your name on a ballot so that you can get some things done. You mean nobody don't know you on the block? Don't nobody know you in the neighborhood? You shouldn't be running at all. Sit down somewhere. Sit down somewhere. It ain't work for you. When I was getting my petitions done to get my name on the ballot, I didn't have no problems. None. So you got to have that rapport because we have to have that voice that speaks for us. And this is why, I said it on our platform. Right now, we're in the middle of a second civil war. The first was over our labor. This one is over our culture. Legally, you let this lady who had no legal precedent as it relates to Black people on the Supreme Court, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, to steal the acronym RBG, and nobody pressed her on that. I'm telling you why, because we don't have any legal arm. The conscious folks ain't got no legal arm, because guess what? You ain't recruiting in them schools. You're not on them campuses reaching out to them college students saying, you know what? I know you studying. Go to them law schools. I know you studying. I need your help. We can help each other. You'd be surprised. People will step out and do it for you. You'd be surprised. But we don't do that no more. Everybody wants to have a run another mouth episode, and think you're going to get freedom. Sitting here watching a lecture for 4 hours ain't going to get me freedom. Action gets you freedom. You got to be active. Brother Kwame Ture was active. Malcolm was active. Ella Baker was active. Fannie Lou Hamer was active. You understand what I'm saying? If you're not active, we're not getting nowhere. And you can talk and run your lips all you want to, but that's all that's going to happen. And we're not going to get reparations if we don't do the real work. We got to make these politicians understand. Like Carol Mosley Braun should already know, if you open your mouth as it relates to reparations without our permission, you don't get this work. The same way they know that if you say something out of the way towards Israel, you're going to get that work. They have to have the same fear of us. They have to. So we have to get there to make it happen. That's where I'm at with it. Cut my check, roll over my tax dollars to me, and we good. I don't need you for nothing. Nothing at all. Could you imagine all the businesses, the money that will flow in from manufacturers? Right now, there's a stranglehold on manufacturing as it relates to footwear and apparel. There's been a stranglehold for many years. It's the Jew and the Asian. They have a stranglehold and they work together. Those two mafia entities work together. You can't get a manufacturing contract in China without sitting down with them first. That's why you had companies like Triple Five Soul, Academics, Rockaware, I can go on Mecca, Fat Farm. That's why they all Sean John. They all had to sell. They all had to because it's a mob operation. And they went in there with no force. We as black people in this country, we have to step to these politicians with force. We have to step to them to let them know that either you advocate for what we want on our behalf, or guess what? Your days are numbered. Your days are numbered. And not only that, anything that you do outside of our plan that we have submitted to you, we will sue you. We will sue you. And we will take everything that you have, including your pension. You will pay for this the way other ethnic groups do to them. We ain't the only ones. They do it too. And it's legal, but we don't know how to operate with that. And that's what Sister Keisha is. Cut my check. I'm good.
All right, before we wrap it up, we got the event coming up. But I wanted to ask you real quick. I know y'all did the bike ride. How was the bike ride? And we got this event coming up the 17th and the 18th. Let us know what kind of heat. Because August it was real hot. You understand? Black August it was real hot. You understand? So what kind of heat could we looking forward to? Or what level of octave come October? This October.
It's gonna be fire. First, again, thank all the ladies who went out to the bike ride. We had a great time. Two reasons why I did this. One is because it's something that I love. And I find that there aren't a lot of respect for those of us who like to do things outdoors when it comes to other groups. I wanted the ladies to see what was available to them via their tax dollars that they wouldn't have to pay anything for. I wanted them to see something or to do something that they may not have done before. I wanted them to interact with one another. Didn't matter whether you came from Connecticut, as some people came from, some people from Brooklyn, some people was there from Jersey, and so on and so forth, that we can come together, put our own personal issues aside, our own personal beliefs. We could come together and do something great. As it relates to healthcare for our brothers, in particular our sisters. That's why I did it for the Black women only, because we have the highest rate of diabetes in the community. Big Mama is always going down for diabetes. We can alleviate a lot of that if we are active. Some people cannot afford a gym membership. Right now, during this pandemic, you can't even trust certain things. You might not feel comfortable going into a gym where you could get out and work out. And then also, I wanted to give the sisters a little bit of history, because we live with myths, because we refuse to study and to question everything that our oppressor put before us. The name of the park is Shirley Chisholm National State Park. And it has been touted since I was a little girl that she was the first Black woman to run for president here in the United States. But that also is a myth. That's not true. She wasn't the first Black woman to run for president in the United States. It was Charlene Mitchell. And you have to ask yourself, well, why nobody ever mentioned Charlene Mitchell to me? And why are they pushing Shirley Chisholm towards me. Now, I'm not getting to right now what my research has shown me about Miss Chisholm, but I know the reason why they put that park there. I know the reason why they gave it her name, and I wanted our sisters to understand that so that they could take that back with them. So we just had a great time just building, bonding as Black women, just women I met on Facebook, never saw before, showed up. So it was really great. It was really great. And I can't wait to do it again. You know, some of the sisters, well, the majority of them wanted to do it sooner than next fall. But I said I will see how that works out because, you know, Knowledge Born, I already got a busy schedule. So, you know, I can't put too much on myself because not only am I an activist, a businesswoman, I'm also a wife. You know, I got siblings, I got grandkids. So, you know, it's a whole other part of me that I have to give some of myself to as well. So we'll see how that work out. But I was glad we were able to do that. And glad I met those sisters. But what is it, next week? The week after, 17th and 18th? 17th and 18th,
Right.
it's going down.
Yes.
We coming in with nothing but solution. We coming in with that fire. I'm telling you, you know the young lion Ashe SJ ain't playing with you. So we coming in with that fire, but we have some solutions, some of the things that I discussed here with you tonight that we're going to elaborate on because I think people see it as a huge feat. Excuse me, but it isn't. A lot of the things that we need tangibles right here, right now, we can get it in not just this election cycle. I'm not even talking about the national cycle. I'm talking about your local municipalities and how you can get these things right now, how you can get onto your community boards and begin there because that's where a lot of the land um, repatriation, if you will, goes on there. And you don't even know that. You have police boards that you can sit on as well in your community and see what they do, see what they're doing, so that you can prepare yourself or, you know, educate yourself. I learned a lot by going to them police meetings. You know, I learned a lot about how to make a police department run so that when we do have a nation, within a nation or wherever it may be, I can set that up. You know, my major in college was police science. So we can have those things done right here, right now. The Shamram in Brooklyn, they have their own police force. The Hasidics, the Shamram, they got their police cars look almost identical to NYPD cars. They carry the guns on the hip and all of that. Why can't we have that? We can get that right here, right now. So I can't wait for the 17th and 18th Thorough Black Talk with me, Tad, and brother Ashe SJ. We bringing them flames, and it's going to be fire, family. You're not going to want to miss it. We are happy and honored to be a part of this. Happy and honored to be a part of the media platform with you, brother Knowledge Born, and do the Knowledge Radio. So we're going to cover both ends of the spectrum. We're going to shut it down. So I hope to see y'all the 17th and 18th. It's going to be streamed. We could definitely use your donations. Now, let me tell you something, family. It takes a lot to put together all these PowerPoints, get these media platforms up, to get these speakers. You have speakers who are coming from around the globe. So some people have to get up like 4 o'clock in the morning so that they can have a conference with you at 9 a.m. At 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So we need your donations. Every little bit counts. Let me tell you something. I could tell you firsthand what 50 cents per person can do. If we have 20,000 viewers on all of our platforms, everybody who is participating, if all of the followers cashed at 50 cents, we could do great things with it. Great things. I did that when I had the children at the Freedom Retreat. I just asked everybody for 75 cents. I don't want a whole dollar, just give me 75 cents. I was able to hand over to Miss Maddox 10 grand. 10 grand from just mom and pop. Can I get 75 cents? You spend that on a bag of chips. So you'd be surprised what those numbers can mount up to. And so I always start off small like that. Trust me when I tell you, it adds up. I once did an experiment with our young ladies at the retreat. And I had them push a product that I knew that they wouldn't like, they weren't interested in, and that they would be reluctant to do. We set up teams based on age groups. And we gave them Knowledge Born some oldie but goodie CDs, mixed CDs, right? And these young kids, these young ladies from the age 7 to 16, nobody gonna buy those. Who listen to those? We don't want to do that. Oh my God. You heard the whole gamut. So I made a deal with them. I said, we're going to try it my way. And I guarantee you, you're going to make more money in 3 hours than all of the allowance that your parents has given to you thus far. Oh boy. I said, take the bet. I got the cash, take the bet. All right. You know, little girls, here they go. So we break them up. Brother Tyrone gives them the product, the CDs to sell. Excuse me. Some were cashiers, some were managers, and some were marketers. They had to go out into the audience and market those CDs. They were so reluctant. They gonna laugh at us. So and so and so. Brother, in less than an hour, these girls made $300. They couldn't believe it. They wanted to keep going. I said, ho. I thought you didn't want to do this. I didn't, because we made a deal with them. Half of the money that they made will go back into the retreat, and the other half they would keep and split evenly amongst themselves. So they wanted to keep going. And at the end of the night, they made a nice substantial amount of cash. And when we went back into the classroom the next day, I said, the lesson you must learn here today is that you may not love the product. The most important thing is that your consumer does. And I said, remember, when you go to the store and you ask your mother or father for $1 to get a bag of chips, and your mother and father may say, that's some nasty chips. Them Doritos is disgusting. But you love them. You will never see the store owner eat a bag of Doritos. But he's going to sell them to you because he knows you like it. And that's the key to sales. Doesn't matter what you like. It's what your consumer likes. And every summer after that, we're going to sell more CDs. But you see, you have to show people. And that's how I feel with our people. If we can just come together at an event like the 17th and the 18th and come together with some great, powerful minds, you'll be surprised what we can do. So I'm asking all of you who are listening, if you can, cash up $1. If that's all you got, that's all you got. And never let nobody make you feel bad about that. We are thankful and appreciative for all that you can contribute. So I hope to see you all the 17th and 18th. I promise I will have my lungs cleared and everything. We will be good to go. We'll be good to go, family. So get ready. 17th and 18th is going down. DTC1.org. For more info, DTC1.org. Or you can inbox Brother Knowledge Born at Do the Knowledge Radio, or you can inbox us at Thorough Black Talk Radio, and we'll give you more information if needed.
All right, so let's end off with thorough black talk and a strong message to the black family out
Family,
there.
every week you can catch us live on Facebook and on YouTube. Thorough Black Talk Radio with myself, Brother Tad, and Brother Ashe. We bring to you an analysis of contemporary news, history, and politics. We speak it how we want to and break it down the way we need to. This last few weeks, we have been breaking down white supremacist groups. We have been breaking down the two presidential candidates. This week, we're going back. We're going to pull the layer, or as Dr. Collins said, we're going to lift the skirt of these two candidates. In particular, Joe Biden, because this man has been a master of identity theft since he got into office. He has been stealing people's identities and adapting them as their own, as his own, and using that to push himself to where he is now politically. He has also used black suffering um, to his disposal, and I'm going to expose all of that. I'm going to show you it's nothing twisted. We're going to use reputable white sources because I know y'all like that. So y'all can't say we doctored anything. We're going to go through his career. We're going to go through his family. I'm going to show you how he has lied his way to where he is now. I'm going to show you who trained Donald Trump. You know, for those of us who are a little bit older, we remember Steve Coakley when he used to tell you about Roy Cohen and who he was. Well, that's who trained Donald Trump, Roy Cohen. So we're going to break that down for all of you. We're going to continue. In November, we're going to start revisiting some of these historical cases, like the murder of Yusuf Hawkins. We're going to go back into the Tawana Brawley trial. We're going to go back into Michael Griffith's murder. And we're going to pull back the layers because we have a lot of chatter, if you will, about what took place with these cases, who was involved. You know, I'm going to show you exactly the moment when Al Sharpton turned on the community. This is all public knowledge here in New York. Maybe not to the rest of you, but when Yusuf Hawkins was murdered, that's when Sharpton turned. And I'm going to show you the exact moment when he did so. And we're going to have some guests come on who could corroborate what I'm telling you. So get ready for that. Thorough Black Talk every Thursday, 8 to 10 p.m., Facebook and YouTube.
Final thought and your social media where people can find you and how they can book you, because I know you're still getting booked out here. Okay.
Yes, you can catch me on many social media platforms. Keisha Hopkins Forrester. I don't hide from nobody. The government know who I am, so I don't have to hide from nobody. I'm K Fighter on Instagram, K Fighter on Twitter. Just inbox me, message me if you have an event and you want me to come through, even if it's a live stream. Let me know. We'll make it happen. Here in New York, I can say that I am the leading authority as it relates to state sanctioned murders here in this country. And now my research is taking me abroad, in particular Dominican Republic right now, because as I said, we have been discussing white supremacist groups. You have the Latinx folks who are members of Proud Boys, who are in championship of the Proud Boys. And so you ask yourself, when Officer Garcia was beating the stuffing out of some dude out of his slides here in New York, you know, now you'll know why. A lot of them are members of the Proud Boys and other groups. So we're going to get into all of that. But family, I love y'all, but I'm about to get in this bed and get me some rest and let this concoction that my sister gave me work on me.
Well, definitely appreciate you. You and the fam. We know we're gonna be tuning in and get this thorough black talk, here this week, and it's gonna be live. So Shout out to you. Thank you again. Much love to you and the fam. Tell Tankhead, man, he's delinquent. You need to come see me. All right, family, we out.
Yeah. Now we gonna tell them that in front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that? No more. This man's mind is open. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a. Let's get back to the
motive is best developed by recognizing the common enemy.